At 9 p.m., rain poured steadily over downtown Seattle. A young delivery rider pulled her scooter beneath the awning of a closed bookstore and finally removed her helmet. She stretched her aching shoulders and smiled at herself. "Well done, Lily," she muttered. "Only 3 wrong apartment buildings today." She paused. "Actually, 4, she sighed. "We don't talk about Building C." Lily Morgan was 26 years old, a single mother to a 5-year-old daughter named Ava, and one of the highest-rated delivery drivers on DashNow, a fast-growing food delivery platform, at least according to customers. According to her manager, she was never fast enough, never accepted enough orders, never reached enough KPIs. Tonight had been another 12-hour shift. She hadn't eaten since noon. Finally, she opened the insulated delivery bag resting beside her scooter. Hidden beneath spare napkins sat her own dinner. A small takeout container of chicken and rice. Cold, slightly crushed, but hers. She smiled. Still prettier than instant noodles. She picked up the plastic fork. Just as she was about to take the first bite, she heard it. A loud, very determined growl. Not from her stomach, from someone else's. Lily looked up. A few feet away sat an elderly man on another bench beneath the awning, around 75, gray hair, simple raincoat, no umbrella. He stared out at the rain as if it were the most fascinating thing in the world, or perhaps the safest place to look. His stomach growled again, much louder this time. The old man immediately cleared his throat and pretended nothing had happened. Lily bit her lip, then quietly stood up. She walked over carrying the food container. "Excuse me, sir." The old man looked surprised. "Yes?" She held out the meal. "I think this belongs to you." He blinked. "I beg your pardon? My dinner." She smiled warmly. "You should eat first." His eyes widened. "But what about you?" Lily shrugged. "I'll eat tomorrow." The old man looked genuinely troubled. "You haven't eaten either." "I've survived worse." She pushed the container gently toward him. "Please, for me." He hesitated. "I can't take your only meal." "You can. I insist." He looked into her eyes for a long moment. Not pity, just uncomplicated kindness. Slowly, he accepted the container. "Thank you." Lily smiled. "You're welcome." The old man took a careful bite, then another. He closed his eyes briefly. "It's delicious." Lily laughed. "I wish I could take credit. The grocery store deserves the award." He chuckled. For several quiet minutes, they listened to the rain. The old man continued eating. Lily watched passing traffic. Then her stomach growled. Loudly, embarrassingly. The old man looked over. Lily instantly grabbed her phone from her pocket. "Oh," she nodded seriously. "That wasn't me. It was—" She lifted the phone dramatically. "My phone vibrating." The old man stared at her, then burst into laughter. "My dear, your phone sounds hungry." Lily grinned. "It gets emotional after 9 o'clock." For the first time in weeks, Henry Bennett laughed without thinking about his age. Henry Bennett had retired 2 years earlier. For nearly 30 years, he had built DashNow into one of the fastest-growing delivery companies in the country before handing control to his son, Noah. Noah was brilliant, disciplined, visionary. The company had grown faster than ever under him. Profits were strong. Technology improved. Delivery times broke records. Investors adored him. But Henry had begun to wonder something. Numbers looked healthier than people. So without telling anyone, including Noah, he had started spending a few evenings each month anonymously visiting restaurants, pickup stations, and neighborhoods where DashNow drivers worked. Not to test anyone. Simply to see. Tonight, he had forgotten his wallet at home. His phone battery had died. Pride had kept him from asking anyone for help, until one exhausted young woman quietly handed him the only meal she had. Across town, Noah Bennett stood inside the glass conference room on the 32nd floor of DashNow headquarters. 29 years old, tailored navy suit, sharp mind, calm voice. He studied performance charts projected across the wall. "Average delivery time is down another 6%, one executive said. Noah nodded. "Good. Driver efficiency? Up 12%. Excellent. What about retention?" A brief pause. The HR director shifted uncomfortably. "We're losing drivers faster than expected." Noah frowned. "Why?" No clear answer yet. He glanced back at the charts. Data always told a story. Usually. Tonight, something important seemed to be missing. Back beneath the bookstore awning, Henry carefully folded the empty food container. He looked at Lily. "What's your name?" "Lily." "I'm Henry." She offered her hand. He shook it gently. "You work for Dash now." She nodded. "Full-time?" "Full-time. And nights. And weekends. And whenever my manager remembers I exist." Henry smiled. "You sound busy." "I sound underpaid." "You said it. I thought it. Out loud." Lily covered her face. "I really need to stop narrating my own life." Henry laughed again, then his expression softened. "Tell me something honestly." She looked up. "Do you enjoy working there?" Lily thought for a moment, then smiled. "The job? Yes. I love it." "You do?" "I meet interesting people every day. You helped one tonight." She shrugged. "That's the best part." Henry nodded slowly. "And your manager?" Lily's smile became noticeably smaller. "Well?" She glanced toward the rain, then back at Henry. "The job is wonderful." "My manager." She stopped herself, shook her head, then smiled again. "No. Let's not ruin your dinner." Henry looked at the young woman sitting across from him. She was hungry, exhausted, cold, yet somehow still more concerned about protecting a stranger's appetite than complaining about her own pain. For reasons he could not yet explain, Henry had a feeling he had just met the kind of employee every company hoped it had, and almost never noticed. Back beneath the bookstore awning, Henry carefully folded the empty food container. He looked at Lily. "What's your name?" "Lily." "I'm Henry." She offered her hand. He shook it gently. "You work for Dash now." She nodded. "Full-time. Full-time. And nights. And weekends. And whenever my manager remembers I exist." Henry smiled. "You sound busy." "I sound underpaid." "You said it. I thought it. Out loud." Lily covered her face. "I really need to stop narrating my own life." Henry laughed again. Then his expression softened. "Tell me something honestly." She looked up. "Do you enjoy working there?" Lily thought for a moment, then smiled. "The job? Yes. I love it." "You do?" "I meet interesting people every day. You helped one tonight." She shrugged. "That's the best part." Henry nodded slowly. "And your manager?" Lily's smile became noticeably smaller. "Well." She glanced toward the rain, then back at Henry. "The job is wonderful. My manager." She stopped herself, shook her head, then smiled again. "No. Let's not ruin your dinner." Henry looked at the young woman sitting across from him. She was hungry, exhausted, cold, yet somehow still more concerned about protecting a stranger's appetite than complaining about her own pain. For reasons he could not yet explain, Henry had a feeling he had just met the kind of employee every company hoped it had, and almost never noticed. The next morning, Henry Bennett walked into Dash Now headquarters without an appointment. That alone was enough to disturb the natural order of the building. Receptionists straightened. Executives slowed down. One intern nearly dropped a tray of coffees when he realized the elderly man in the simple raincoat was the founder whose portrait still hung near the main lobby. Henry smiled at everyone, then walked straight to the private elevator. On the 32nd floor, Noah Bennett was reviewing quarterly projections when his assistant appeared at the conference room door, looking deeply unsettled. "Your father is here." Noah looked up. "My father is in Palm Springs." Apparently, Palm Springs moved to the elevator. Before Noah could respond, Henry stepped into the room. "Noah." "Dad?" Henry glanced at the charts on the screen. "Still measuring human beings in percentages, I see." The executives froze. Noah stood. "Can we have the room?" The room emptied very quickly. Noah walked toward his father, concern replacing surprise. "Are you all right?" Henry took off his coat and sat down at the conference table. "I had dinner last night." Noah blinked. "That's good?" "A delivery driver gave it to me." Noah frowned. "One of our drivers?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because I was hungry." Noah stared at him. "You were hungry." "I forgot my wallet. My phone died. It was raining. I was embarrassed." Very dramatic. You would have hated the inefficiency. Despite himself, Noah almost smiled. "Dad, why didn't you call someone? With my dead phone?" "Borrow one." And explain to a stranger that the founder of Dash Now couldn't obtain dinner in downtown Seattle while standing beneath a bookstore sign that said "New Arrivals." Noah rubbed his forehead. "You're impossible." Henry leaned forward. "No, I was lucky." The humor left his voice. "A young woman who looked like she hadn't eaten all day handed me her only meal." Noah went still. "She works for us?" "Yes." "Who?" Henry shook his head. "Not yet." Dad, I'm not here to give you a name so you can solve one person's problem and ignore the system that made her hungry. Noah's jaw tightened slightly. Our driver support metrics have improved. Henry pointed at the screen. Metrics don't get stomach aches. Noah said nothing. Henry's voice softened, but his words landed hard. Do you know your employees are skipping meals to hit your KPIs? Noah's answer came too fast. No. That was not a question that deserved speed. Noah looked toward the city through the glass wall. We have incentive programs, break guidelines, support channels. Do they work? The data says. Henry raised one eyebrow. Noah stopped. His father had used that same look when Noah was 16 and insisted he understood the basics of doing laundry, right before turning every white shirt pale blue. Henry folded his hands. You don't know. Noah exhaled. I know what the reports say. Then today, stop reading reports. Noah looked back. What do you want me to do? Henry smiled. Deliver food. Noah stared at him. No. Yes. I run the company. Then you should know how it runs. I have meetings. Cancel them. A board call. Reschedule. Dad, I can't just put on a helmet and start delivering orders. Henry stood. I already signed you up. Noah's eyes narrowed. You did what? Temporary driver account. Background cleared. Very impressive process, actually. Your app asked if I had a bicycle, scooter, or car. I selected son. Noah closed his eyes. Henry patted his shoulder. Wear comfortable shoes. By noon, Noah Bennett stood outside a Dash Now driver hub, wearing a plain black jacket, a borrowed baseball cap, and the expression of a man experiencing consequences. Henry handed him an insulated delivery bag. You look nervous. I'm not nervous. You look like someone asked a spreadsheet to ride a scooter. Noah adjusted the cap lower. This is unnecessary. It is extremely necessary. The hub was crowded with drivers checking phones, collecting orders, and rushing in and out. No one recognized Noah. That bothered him more than it should have. A man in a red manager vest stood near the dispatch counter shouting names. Faster. If you reject orders, don't complain when your bonus disappears. Henry leaned toward Noah. That's David. Noah watched him. David barked at a young driver whose phone screen was cracked. You were 4 minutes late yesterday. That puts you under threshold. There was an accident on 5th. Not my problem. Noah's face hardened. Henry said quietly, keep watching. Noah accepted his first order, then his second. Within an hour, his polished view of operations began to fall apart. The pickup address was wrong. The app sent him behind a building with no entrance. A restaurant made him wait 18 minutes, then blamed the driver. A customer changed the drop-off instructions 3 times and still rated him poorly for being confused. By 3 p.m., Noah had spilled coffee on his sleeve, been yelled at by a doorman, and walked into the wrong apartment tower with $12 worth of sushi. Henry, observing from a nearby bench with suspicious delight, said, Learning? Noah glared at him. My socks are wet. Excellent. Wet socks build empathy. That is not in any leadership book. It should be. Then Noah saw her. Lily Morgan stood near the dispatch desk, helmet under one arm, ponytail damp from rain, delivery bag at her feet. She looked exhausted. Still, she was smiling at another driver and helping him fix a frozen app screen. Noah recognized the kindness before he knew why. Henry's expression changed. That's her, he said softly. The driver from last night? Henry nodded. Noah watched Lily. Before he could speak, David's voice cut across the room. Lily, she turned quickly. Yes? David marched toward her holding a tablet. You were late on the Harbor Street order. Lily's face tightened. The customer changed the address after pickup. Excuses don't change delivery time. I messaged support. And yet the clock kept running. Drivers around them went quiet. Noah stepped closer, keeping his cap low. Lily lowered her voice. David, please, I already lost the dinner bonus yesterday. You missed the metric. My daughter had a medical bill due this morning. I picked up extra shifts. I haven't. David cut her off. Your personal life is not a company problem. The words landed like a slap. Lily's face went pale. Noah felt Henry stiffen beside him. David tapped the tablet. I'm assigning you 2 penalty routes. Penalty routes, Lily whispered. No bonus eligibility for 48 hours. Her eyes filled instantly. She tried to blink the tears back, but exhaustion was faster than pride. David, please, she said. I just paid the clinic. I need that bonus for groceries. David leaned closer. Then maybe deliver faster. Noah moved before thinking. Henry caught his arm. Not yet. Noah looked at his father, furious. Henry's voice was low. If you stop this as CEO, he'll behave for one day. If you understand it as a driver, you'll fix it for everyone. Lily wiped her cheek quickly, humiliated that anyone had seen. Then she picked up her delivery bag. Noah watched her walk out into the rain. The same woman who had given away her only meal the night before had just been punished by his company for being human. And for the first time since becoming CEO, Noah Bennett understood something no dashboard had ever shown him. His company was not broken in the charts. It was broken in the places where people were too tired to complain. Noah did not reveal who he was, not after watching David humiliate Lily, not after seeing the way she wiped her tears before stepping into the rain, as if crying was something she had to finish privately and quickly because the next order was already waiting. Part of him wanted to end everything right there. Walk back into the driver hub, take off the cap, say his name, watch David's face collapse. But his father was right. If Noah wanted to understand what was broken, he had to stop standing above it. So he stayed quiet. He accepted another order, then another. By early evening, the rain had slowed to a mist, and Noah Bennett, CEO of Dash Now, was officially terrible at delivering food. He took one wrong turn, then another, then entered a building through the loading dock because the app insisted the entrance was directly ahead, which apparently meant behind 3 dumpsters and a locked gate. Lily found him outside an apartment complex, staring at his phone like it had personally betrayed him. "You're new," she said. Noah looked up. She stood beneath a street lamp, helmet tucked under one arm, damp hair stuck to her cheek, delivery bag balanced against her hip. He lowered his phone slightly. "That obvious? You're glaring at the GPS like it owes you money. It told me to walk through a fence." Lily nodded with solemn understanding. "First rule of delivery, don't trust GPS." Noah glanced at the map. "It's the company routing system." "Exactly. It hates people." Despite the weight in his chest, Noah almost smiled. Lily stepped beside him and pointed down the street. "Building 4B is over there. The numbers make no sense because apparently architects enjoy watching drivers suffer." Noah hesitated. "I thought 4B would be between 4A and 4C. That's beginner thinking." "What should I think?" "That buildings are emotional and cannot be reasoned with." She took the order from his bag, checked the receipt, and handed it back. "Also, never put drinks near soup. Soup is dramatic. It leaks when ignored." Noah watched her move with quick, tired efficiency. She gave advice without making him feel stupid, corrected him without cruelty. Even after being publicly humiliated, even after losing money she clearly needed, she still had room to help someone who looked lost. He followed her to the correct entrance. The delivery took 40 seconds. The lesson stayed with him much longer. For the next several hours, Lily unofficially adopted him. She did not ask too many personal questions. She simply assumed he was another struggling driver and treated him like he belonged. She showed him which restaurant always forgot utensils, which hotel elevators required a key card, which downtown alley flooded after rain, which customers tipped badly but smiled beautifully, as if charm could pay rent. Noah listened more than he spoke. That was safer. The less he said, the less likely he was to sound like a man who had once approved the very routing system currently ruining his shoes. Lily, however, seemed comfortable filling silence. She narrated almost everything. When a restaurant made them wait 15 minutes, she muttered that the pickup shelf was a place where hope goes to cool down. When a customer asked her to bring the food to the 17th floor, despite marking curbside delivery, she said, "Curbside is apparently a spiritual concept." When Noah nearly dropped a bag of tacos, she caught it with one hand and looked deeply disappointed. "Never disrespect tacos." "I didn't mean to. Tacos don't care about intention." By the time they reached a small public plaza near the waterfront, Noah's legs ached, his phone battery was low, and his respect for every driver in the company had quietly doubled. Lily sat on a bench and pulled a wrapped pastry from her backpack. It was small, slightly smashed, probably meant to be her lunch hours ago. She looked at it, then at Noah. "You ate today?" He started to answer yes, then remembered he had eaten nothing but half a protein bar in his office that morning. "Not really." Lily sighed and broke the pastry in half. Noah shook his head. "You don't have to. I know." She handed him the larger piece. He noticed, so did she. "Don't argue," she said. "You look like you might faint dramatically, and I don't have the energy to catch a grown man." "I don't faint dramatically. You entered Building 4B like a lost Victorian orphan. That was strategic uncertainty. That was fear." He took the pastry. It was apple, cold and soft at the edges. Nothing like the catered lunches in his office. Somehow better. They ate in silence for a while as the city lights reflected in the wet pavement. Noah looked at her profile, the tiredness around her eyes, the stubborn lift of her chin, the way she kept checking her phone for messages from her daughter's babysitter. He had seen plenty of impressive people in his life: executives, investors, founders, politicians, people who entered rooms expecting to be noticed. Lily Morgan was impressive in a quieter way. She gave away food when hungry, helped strangers when exhausted, made jokes when she was close to breaking. And Noah found himself wanting to know what her laugh sounded like when it was not being used as armor. That thought startled him, not because he had never been attracted to someone, because this was not attraction in the usual polished, easy way. This felt like respect turning warm, dangerously warm. The moment cracked open near the end of the night. They returned to the driver hub just before closing, soaked and tired. Henry was waiting near the entrance, pretending to study a vending machine with far too much interest. Lily spotted him first. Her face lit up with recognition. "Henry?" The old man turned and smiled. "My soup angel." Noah's steps slowed. Lily rushed toward him. "You're okay. I was worried after last night." Henry took both her hands. "Because of you, I was more than okay." Lily laughed softly, embarrassed. "It was just chicken and rice. To you, maybe." Noah stood a few feet behind her, unsure what to do with the sudden tightness in his throat. Then David walked out of the hub. He froze when he saw Henry. His posture changed instantly. "Mr. Bennett?" Lily's smile disappeared. Henry's expression cooled. David swallowed. "I didn't know you were visiting today." Lily looked from David to Henry, then to Noah. Something shifted in her face. The name hit her slowly. Henry Bennett, the founder. Her eyes moved to Noah, searching. David looked at Noah's cap and plain jacket, then paled even further. "Mr. Bennett," he said again, but this time to Noah. The world seemed to drop out beneath Lily. Noah removed the cap. He had never hated his own name more than in that moment. Lily stepped back. "You're—" Noah said nothing. He did not know which truth would hurt least. CEO, the man whose company punished her for needing groceries. The man who had eaten half her pastry while hiding behind a lie. Lily's face went from shock to embarrassment, then to something worse. Fear. Not fear of him as a man. Fear of power, of consequences, of being laughed at for being kind to the wrong person. She looked at Henry. "You're his father." Henry nodded gently. "I am." Her hand went to the strap of her delivery bag. "I didn't know." "I know. I wasn't trying to." Noah stepped forward. "Lily, you did nothing wrong." But she was already retreating inward. That was what people did when they had too much to lose. They made themselves small before someone else could do it for them. David watched with thinly hidden panic, but Lily barely noticed him. Her eyes were on Noah. Every shared joke now looked different in her mind. Every tip she had given him. Every moment she thought she was helping a new driver. Every piece of herself she had revealed without knowing who was listening. "I need to go," she whispered. "Please wait." But she was already walking to the locker area. Noah followed at a distance, stopping at the doorway when he saw her pull a folded paper from her bag. She placed it on the supervisor's desk, her resignation. Then she removed the Dash Now badge from her jacket. Her fingers shook as she set it down. Noah felt the room tilt. Lily turned back once. Her eyes were wet, but her voice stayed quiet. "I can't afford to be somebody's lesson." Then she walked out into the rain. Noah stood there with the cap in his hand, the taste of shared apple pastry still in his mouth, and the brutal understanding that the woman who had given his father her last meal now believed his world would only take more from her. Noah went to Lily's apartment the next morning. He did not bring flowers. He did not bring a legal team, a public apology statement, or any of the polished things powerful people used when they wanted forgiveness without discomfort. He brought groceries, not expensive ones, just bread, milk, fruit, cereal, and the same apple pastry she had once split with him on a wet bench near the waterfront. When Lily opened the door, her expression closed immediately. "No." Noah stood in the hallway with the paper bags in his arms. That was very fast. I'm efficient when refusing billionaires. I'm not a billionaire. That is exactly what a billionaire would say for tax reasons. Despite everything, his mouth twitched. Lily noticed and hated that it made her want to smile. Her 5-year-old daughter, Ava, peeked from behind her leg. "Mommy, is he the grocery man?" Lily gently guided her back. "No, baby. He's a complicated man." Noah nodded. "That's fair." Lily stepped into the hallway and pulled the door mostly closed behind her. "You shouldn't be here." "I know. Then why are you?" He looked at her carefully. "Because I owe you an apology." "You owe your drivers one." "Yes." That answer stopped her for half a second. Noah continued, quieter now. "And I owe you one separately." Lily folded her arms. "For lying? For hiding? Same thing when one person has power and the other doesn't." The sentence hit him hard because it was true. Noah looked down. "You're right." Lily expected an excuse. A speech about corporate responsibility. A line about how he only wanted to understand. Instead, he stood there and let the truth make him uncomfortable. That made it harder to stay angry. So she held on to the anger tighter. "Was I a case study?" "No." "A sweet little example for your leadership journey?" "No." "Then what was I?" Noah's eyes lifted to hers. "The first person who made me ashamed of the company I built." Lily's throat tightened. He took one small step forward, then stopped, careful not to crowd her. "I didn't come because of the meal you gave my father." She looked away. "I'm sure that helped." "It did. But that's not why I came." "Then why?" His voice softened. "Because of you." The hallway went very quiet. Noah continued, before she could retreat behind another joke. "Because you were exhausted, and still kind. Because you were humiliated, and still helped a new driver. Because you had half a pastry, and gave me the bigger half." Lily blinked fast. "That was because you looked pathetic." "I was pathetic. You walked into a loading dock. I deserved the smaller half." A tiny laugh escaped her before she could stop it. Noah smiled, then grew serious again. "I don't want your pity, Lily, and I don't want you to accept mine." "Then what do you want?" "I want to fix what hurt you, and I want you to know that what I felt yesterday wasn't pity." Lily's hand tightened around the edge of the door. "What was it?" Noah looked at her like the answer scared him. "Respect." For a moment, she could not speak. Then Ava's voice came from inside. "Mommy, the complicated man brought bananas." Lily closed her eyes. Noah looked down at the grocery bag. "They're for her." Lily opened her eyes again. "Don't buy my forgiveness." "I'm not trying to." "Then take the groceries back." "I can't." "Why?" "Ava has already emotionally claimed the bananas." Lily hated him a little for being funny at the wrong time. She hated herself more for almost laughing again. Finally, she took the bags, but she did not invite him in. Noah accepted that. Before leaving, he said, "You resigned because you thought you'd be punished." Lily stared at him. "I resigned because I'm tired of being scared." Noah nodded slowly. "That ends today." It did not end with a speech. It began with records. Noah ordered an internal audit of the driver hub Lily worked from, and 3 others under David's regional control. He brought in finance, HR, legal, and an outside employee rights consultant Henry personally recommended. Within 48 hours, the picture became ugly. Penalty routes were not official policy. David had created them. Bonus disqualifications had been manually altered. Complaint tickets from drivers had been closed without review. Break time guidelines were being ignored. Worse, incentive funds meant for top-rated drivers had been redirected into a regional performance pool that David controlled. Noah read the findings alone in his office at 2:13 a.m. Each page felt like an accusation, not because he had signed David's orders, because he had built a company where David could hide behind speed, efficiency, and numbers long enough to hurt people. Henry entered quietly and placed a cup of coffee on the desk. Noah did not look up. "I missed it." Henry sat across from him. Yes, Noah expected comfort. His father did not give it. That's what happens when leaders only look where things are clean. Noah closed the file. "I thought I was building something better." "Then build it now." The all-company meeting was called for Friday morning. Every driver in the Seattle region was invited. So were managers, executives, support staff. Noah made sure David was there. David arrived in a dark suit, pale but still pretending confidence. He had clearly assumed damage control would mean sacrificing someone small, someone like Lily. And when Lily walked in hesitantly with Ava beside Henry, David's eyes sharpened. He almost smiled. Noah saw it. So did Lily. Her shoulders tightened. Henry leaned toward her. "Don't let frightened men make you feel small," Lily whispered. "I'm trying." Ava looked around the large meeting room. "Mommy, are you in trouble?" Lily forced a smile. "I don't know yet, baby." Noah heard that. It almost broke him. He stepped onto the small stage. The room quieted. Behind him, the Dash Now logo glowed on the screen. For the first time, Noah hated how clean it looked. "My name is Noah Bennett," he began. "Most of you know me as the CEO of this company." A few drivers shifted uncomfortably. "Over the past several days, I worked one shift as a delivery driver, not as a publicity campaign, not as a test, as an apology I should have made years ago." David's face turned gray. Noah continued. "What I saw was not weakness from drivers. It was courage. It was patience. It was people solving problems our systems created and then being punished for not making those problems invisible." The room was completely silent now. Noah looked toward Lily. She stood frozen near the back, one hand holding Ava's. "I also saw cruelty disguised as management." David took a step forward. "Mr. Bennett, if I may clarify." "No." The word cut through the room. David stopped. Noah lifted a folder. The audit found unauthorized penalty routes, manipulated bonus records, closed complaints, and misdirected incentive funds. Murmurs spread through the crowd. David's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Noah's voice remained calm. "The person leaving this company today is not Lily Morgan." Lily's breath caught. Noah turned toward David. "It's you." David stared at him. "What?" "Effective immediately. Your employment is terminated. Legal will contact you regarding the missing incentive funds." For 1 second, no one moved. Then someone clapped. A driver near the front, then another. Then the whole room erupted. Not polished applause. The sound of people realizing someone had finally believed them. David stood frozen as security approached. His eyes flicked toward Lily, furious and humiliated. Noah stepped down from the stage and stood between them before David could speak. "No," Noah said quietly. "You don't get one more word from her." David was escorted out. The applause slowly faded. Noah turned back to the room. "This does not fix everything. Firing one bad manager does not erase the system that protected him." He took a breath. "But today, it changes." Then he looked at Lily, not as an employee, as the woman who had fed his father in the rain and taught him, without meaning to, what leadership had forgotten. "Miss Morgan," he said, voice softer, "your resignation is rejected." A surprised laugh moved through the crowd. Lily blinked through tears. Noah added, "Not because you owe this company anything, because this company owes you better." Ava tugged on Lily's sleeve. "Mommy, does that mean you still have a job?" Lily wiped her cheek, laughing and crying at once. "I think so." Henry smiled beside her. Noah looked out at the drivers. "All of you do. And from now on, you'll have more than a job. You'll have a company that remembers you're human." This time, when the applause came, Lily did not try to make herself small. She let herself hear it. And Noah, standing under the bright company lights, understood that shutting down one cruel boss was only the beginning. The real work was making sure no one like him could ever rule from the shadows again. 1 year later, Dash Now looked very different. The logo was the same. The app was still orange and white. Customers still complained when fries arrived cold, because some things in life were apparently eternal. But inside the company, everything had changed. Every driver hub had a real break room now. Not a folding chair beside a vending machine, a real break room, with water, coffee, lockers, charging stations, and a quiet corner where exhausted drivers could sit without being told they were wasting time. Bonuses were transparent. Penalty routes were gone. Driver complaints could no longer be closed by the same managers named in them. And the Henry Bennett Emergency Fund, created after one rainy night beneath a bookstore awning, helped drivers with medical bills, food insecurity, and childcare emergencies. Henry hated the name. He claimed it made him sound like a very old superhero. Lily said the cape would be bad for his knees. He agreed. Lily still worked for Dash Now, but only part-time now. Noah had offered her a leadership position twice. She had rejected it twice. Not because she was afraid, because, as she told him, "I love helping people." I do not love meetings with graphs that look like spaghetti having anxiety. So they created a role that actually fit her. Driver mentor. She trained new delivery workers, taught them the real rules of the road, and kept a printed list taped inside every hub. Lily's Delivery Survival Guide. Rule 1. Don't trust GPS. It hates people. Rule 2. Soup leaks when ignored. Rule 3. Always eat before you become emotionally dangerous. Rule 4. If a manager makes you feel small, report it. Rule 5. Never disrespect tacos. New drivers loved her. Managers feared disappointing her. And Noah, who had once believed good systems started with data, now knew good systems started with listening. Henry, meanwhile, continued his secret field inspections. Except they were no longer secret. Everyone knew the retired founder wandered around pretending to be a confused customer. Everyone played along. Once, a driver handed him a sandwich and said, "Nice try, Mr. Bennett." Henry looked offended for 3 full days. On a cool Friday evening, Noah invited Lily to dinner. Just a small family-owned restaurant near the waterfront, with wooden tables, warm lights, and rain tapping softly against the windows. Lily arrived in a blue dress, holding Ava's hand. Ava was 6 now, opinionated, fearless, and deeply suspicious of fancy napkins. Henry was already seated at the table, wearing a bow tie he insisted was casual. Lily narrowed her eyes. "Henry, what? You said this was a normal dinner." "It is. You're wearing a bow tie. I am a normal man with excellent neckwear." Ava touched the bow tie. "It looks like a butterfly." Henry beamed. Finally, someone understands fashion. Noah stood when Lily approached. He looked nervous. That alone made her suspicious. "You're standing like someone who has either good news or a parking ticket." Noah smiled. "No parking ticket. That only eliminates one option." He pulled out her chair. Lily sat, watching him carefully. Dinner began easily. Ava told Henry about school. Henry told Ava that multiplication was invented by adults who feared joy. Noah looked at Lily over the candlelight more often than he looked at the menu. She noticed. Of course she did. When the waiter came, Noah ordered for the table. Then Lily heard him say it. "1 apple chicken sandwich, cut in half." She looked at him. "That's oddly specific." Noah's smile softened. When the plate arrived, the sandwich sat in the middle, sliced neatly into 2 pieces. Just like the pastry they had shared on the bench. Just like the meal she had once given away before she knew who anyone was. Lily laughed quietly. "You remembered?" "I remember a lot." "You know this is not actually my favorite food, right?" "I know. Then why order it?" Noah reached across the table and gently touched her hand. "Because it was the first meal you shared with me." Lily's expression softened. He continued, "And because it was the first time I understood that you don't wait until you have enough before you give." The restaurant noise faded around them. Noah stood. Lily's eyes widened. "Noah!" Ava gasped immediately. Henry sat back with the satisfied expression of a man who had definitely known. Noah lowered himself to one knee beside the table. In his hand was a small velvet box. "Lily Morgan," he said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "Thank you for that rainy night." Her eyes filled. "Thank you for feeding my father when you were hungry." He opened the box. "Thank you for teaching me that a company is not something to be proud of because it grows fast, but because it protects the people who make it possible." Lily covered her mouth. Noah looked up at her. "You didn't just give my father dinner." His voice broke slightly. "You gave me a company I can finally be proud of." Ava bounced in her chair. "Mom, say yes." Lily laughed through tears. Noah smiled. "Will you marry me?" Lily wiped her cheeks. "Only if you both promise me something." Noah nodded. "Anything." She looked at Noah, then at Henry. "The next time you see someone hungry." Henry immediately raised his hand. "I promise first." Lily laughed harder. She looked back at Noah. "Don't wait for me to remind you." Noah's eyes softened. "I promise." Ava raised both hands. "I promise too, but I'm 6, so I might need snacks." Henry nodded gravely. "A wise condition." Lily looked at Noah, then whispered, "Yes." The restaurant applauded as he slid the ring onto her finger. Ava jumped into Lily's lap. Henry pretended not to cry, and failed beautifully. Noah wrapped his arms around Lily and Ava both, holding them like the family he never expected to find through one rain-soaked act of kindness. On the table, the sandwich remained cut in half, but no one had to go hungry anymore. This time, there was enough. for all of them. It's easy to believe that changing the world requires great wealth, great power, or perfect timing. But Lily changed an entire company with something much smaller, a meal she could barely afford to give away. And Noah discovered that the strongest leaders aren't the ones who build the biggest businesses. They're the ones who never forget the people carrying them. I believe the kindness we offer on our hardest days says more about who we are than anything we do when life is easy. Sometimes, the smallest sacrifice becomes someone else's greatest blessing, and eventually finds its way back to us in ways we could never imagine. So let me ask you, if you only had one meal left, would you have shared it with a stranger? Thank you, and please subscribe to Soul Stirring Stories for more heartfelt journeys. Until next time, take care of yourself, and never underestimate the power of a simple act of kindness.